because in the last session it was due to the background noise, you are not able to hear the entire session, right? You are not able to hear clearly everything. Just a quick recap on what we discussed. We discussed about we started data model. First of all, why do you need to learn data model? Because in Power BI, if you want to do slicing and dicing, it is mandatory that you need to create relationship between tables. If you don't create a relationship, or if you don't create the link between tables, then you cannot do slicing and dicing. It is as simple as that. But in Tableau, you don't have to do data model design. Even in ClickSense, you don't have to do data model design. But Power BI dictates us to do the data model design. It works based on the relationship, right? Yeah, it works based on it. That is the reason why we need to learn data model. One way it is good, because Power BI is just a tool. Even Tableau is a tool. Once Tableau was very popular, now Power BI is popular. End of the day, you should be knowing what is data warehouse. Okay, the table design, everything you should be knowing it. Okay, how to do what is a fact table, and what are the different types of fact tables are there, what are the dimension, what is the dimension, what are the different types of dimension tables are there. You should be knowing it. At least you should know what is the data warehouse. And in the data warehouse, we create star schema. Star schema is one type of data model design that is suitable for data warehouse type of environment. And also we have something called snowflake schema. Snowflake schema also we created on a, that is also another type of model. It is more or like star schema, but it is an extension of star schema, that's all. But in the case of snowflake schema, for the dimension table, it will have a hierarchy. Dimension tables, it will have hierarchy. Okay, for example, a customer is there, separate dimension will be there, and which location he belongs, there is a separate dimension for that. Okay, and location and region, right? Region wise, location wise, customer wise information, right? If you want to do some kind of filtering, that will be good. So that's the reason why they kept it snowflake schema. The another advantage snowflake schema is, as I told you in the first session and last session, right? So the dimension table sizes are very huge. Not all the business or all the line of business requires the dimension tables to be very huge, but in general the dimension table size should be will be less. But there are situations the dimension table size also very high. For example, in the case of bank, humongous huge amount of customers are there. The customer base is very high, right? They have millions and millions of customers. So in that case, what they do is they do some kind of normalization. When it comes to data warehouse, we do denormalization. Denormalization is an approach or technique we use it to store. We try to minimize the number of tables. Instead of storing the tables in data in multiple tables, we try to flatten all the multiple tables in single table, kind of a dimension table. We just think that way. In relational database, as I told you, in the case of OLTP, the online transaction processing, which is nothing but let's say in the case of e-commerce website, the data gets stored in online. It's a transaction database. The data gets stored in a transaction database. Daily basis, whatever the orders the customers raise, it gets stored. So there they store the data. There also they created the relationship between the tables, but they use a technique called normalization. Normalization is they split the single table into many tables. Okay, the reason is they want to store less data, so that the insert, update, delete and all, it will be much faster. When the customer orders any item, before he checks out, he might change his mindset, he might delete a product, or he might add additional quantity for the product which he already he has chosen or he selected, right? So in that case, update, delete operation should also be faster. If your table volume is very high, update and delete operation is very expensive, it consumes too much of time. And also, if you store historical data in your OLTP system, do you think you can order any item in Amazon in a matter of 2 to 3 minutes? You cannot. That is the reason why they don't keep historical data, they don't accumulate the data in the operational system. Okay, so what we do is, okay, we are running an e-commerce website, we need to do some kind of analysis. We wanted to store historical information. We want to do some kind of analysis between what is this quarter sales and last quarter sales. If you look for, if you think about Walmart and Target, the volume of the data is very high on a daily basis. Every day itself, right, the volume of the data is very huge. And also they need a historical. Why they need a historical data? They want to do some kind of comparison. But in the operational system, operational database, the data is not available. They keep changing it, they delete it. We don't want that to delete it. For some classic example is price. You have a dimension called price dimension, right? In the case of price, the price will not be constant throughout the year. The price will be changing every now and then. Black Friday and even Cyber Monday and any festival comes, the prices will be keep changing it, on par with to sustain a momentum, right? Because the competitor price and our price should be somewhat closer. So in the operational source system, we keep changing the price, but if we wanted to look back, what price we sold for Samsung mobile 3 months back or 6 months back, we don't have the data because we are keep overwriting. Why we are overwriting? Because we don't want to store the past data. If I store the past data, that's a historical, that consume too much of space. Forget about space, it takes longer time to raise the order because of the volume. When you try to order anything, it will take longer time. That's the reason why they try to keep less amount of as less data as possible in the operational data store. They keep the relevant table, they keep only the relevant data. The retention period is different for the operational data warehouse. The retention period is so most of the case 5 years and 3 years, 5 years and above only they store the data. Okay, you need to know the data warehouse because in the interview they will ask you. Being a senior person, they will definitely ask you what is the data. Data warehouse is to store the historical data, and again we store the historical data on a subject area basis. Subject area base we store data, financial data and what else? Financial data, and we store separately, and also we store the sales data and returns related data, fulfillment data. We separate. We use a schema. Fine. So now you understood what is a data warehouse. It is subject oriented, time variant, non-volatile. We don't make frequent changes on the data warehouse, and also we store the historical data. So okay, in the data warehouse what we do is we use a technique called star schema. Most of the cases, even nowadays, right, no one prefers Snowflake schema. Even Microsoft, they recommend to use star schema only. Okay, if you wanted to filter the data, if you want to filter the propagation, it has to traverse through many tables. If you have multiple tables, in the case of Snowflake schema and all, right, first let's say you have a subcategory, product subcategory and category and product name. Suppose you wanted to know the category wise, product wise the sales, it has to filter the data from your product table to product table, and then the filtered data will get propagated to your category table, and then it has to and it has to also do the slicing and dicing with your measure, right? So that's the reason why they try to flatten even the normalized tables. Even in the case of Snowflake schema, the table designs are done with sort of like this one, the normalization. Operational source system, the table designs are done. So they use normalization technique to do the table design in the operational source system, operational database. Similarly, in Snowflake also kind of the normalization design is used. Okay, but in the case of Star Schema, they use the data warehouse model, completely denormalized. This is normalized, operational system is normalized, but this is denormalized. Okay, in the Star Schema we create dimension tables and fact tables. So we discussed about dimension. It is nothing but a lookup table. We store the descriptive information. Along with that, we store the surrogate key. I forgot to tell about this one last session. The term, that's all. Okay. So what do you mean by surrogate key? Surrogate key is nothing but primary key. Okay. So dimension table comprises of surrogate key as well as the descriptive information. So using this descriptive information which you have in your dimension table, we do the slicing and dicing of the fact tables data. So what is fact table? Fact table, as the name says, it consists of the fact. Fact is nothing but the number data type. Units sold, profit, revenue, gross profit, gross revenue. These are all the numerical values. Number data type. These are all called measures. Okay. So along with the numerical values, we store the dimension table related keys, so that you can create a relationship between dimension table and fact table. Why do I need to establish a relationship between these two? Only then you can do slicing. As I told you, to do the slicing or filtering, it is mandatory to have to define the relationship between tables in Power BI. Even in the case of data model, you irrespective of the tool, even SSRS, SSAS, we use the same thing. Okay. And the next one is we discussed about cardinality and types of relationship. What is one-to-many relationship, one-to-one relationship, and many-to-one relationship, right? So many-to-one. So here one-to-many, many-to-one, one-to-one relationship, and many-to-one relationship. These are called cardinality. Cardinality is nothing but the unique values or the degree of normalization. Okay. So in simple term, so we need to define the relationship between tables to say, we need to define whether the relationship between the table is one-to-many or many-to-one or one-to-one or many-to-many. We need to define that upfront. Okay. And next one is we discussed. I think we are to do. I give an example for many-to-many relationship. Right. So you know what is many-to-many relationship. Simple example is a product and order. A single product can be ordered many times or a single product can be ordered in multiple, or customer would have ordered a single product in multiple orders. Or an order can contain more than one product, right? So multiple orders can have the same products. This is another example of many-to-many relationship. Another simple example is student and employee and projects. A single employee can work on multiple projects, and also a single project will have more employees. You cannot complete a project with a single employee. Right? So this is another example of many-to-many relationship. Many-to-many relationship is not supported in Power BI. Please note it down. Next one is cross-filter direction. Cross-filter direction is also one of the important aspect, right, in Power BI. So let's say when it comes to the Star Schema, so you have all the dimension tables. The data are propagated all the data are data from your dimension tables are flowing from your dimension table to your fact table, not from fact table to dimension table, one-to-many. Okay, this is called single cross filter direction, and we have something called both type. In cross filter direction we have both is available, and also we will see what is active and inactive relationship, and also we will try to create a Snowflake schema, and we will see date. We discussed about date tables also, not much we discussed, right? What are the various approaches you can use it to create the date data tables, and what are the pre-requirements, right? What Power BI mandates, right? What steps that you need to follow in order to do that one. So this is the portion of the business intelligence life cycle. acquire the data, model the data, load the data, and then transform the data. Because in Power BI you need to define the relationship between the table, and then you need to load the data, and also you need to transform the data in order to get the accurate value to visualize, right? So this and all we discussed already. Okay, so 3 types of data model. This also I discussed it. Hope you remember. Logical, physical, everything. And this is what when I don't have a data model, and if I try to slice and dice the sales, or if I want to slice and dice the order date key or the date key, right? For the sales amount, it is not displaying correctly. All the months the sale value is same. All the month the sale values are not same, because it is not filtering the data correctly. So what should I do in that case? I need to create the relationship. Simple. So the date key and order date key, I have created the relationship. Hence the filtering is happening correctly. So let's say you have in the date key I create a relationship. So here I have something like a month, fiscal year or month is there. So month wise, what is the total sales? Right? It is filtering month wise. What it is joining with this order date key, and then it checks, right, each month what is the total sales. That is what we can see it here. So this is the process flow, right? Identify the tables, everything, right? So this is star schema. This is what we discussed, and snowflake schema also we discussed it. But the only advantage of this one is the display is smaller, okay? And fact table has a many-to-one relation to every dimension. And measures are usually sliceable. Fact table would contain key and measure. This is what we discussed. Different types of fact tables are there. In the interview, they will ask you as part of the data warehouse, what is transactional fact table? Whatever the order table you have it in your operational database, right? You will the data whatever you have it, simply you push it here. But only difference is you keep the historical data here, but you will be storing the historical data as well as the derived or the measures, okay? Total sales, gross revenue, gross profit, these are all you arrive based on the formulas, right? Business logic given by your company. In addition to the numerical values, the measures, you will be storing the dimension keys. If you don't store the these dimension tables surrogate keys here, how can you join or filter in the data? How can you do the slicing and dicing, right? So that is what but in the transaction you will have the entire data, okay? But we have something called periodic sum. I don't want my fact table to have the last 5-year data. I am very particular about last 2-year data or 1-year data only. Create a separate fact table, do some kind of analysis. That is periodic. Accumulating is not recommended, okay? But again, it is a bit complex one. I will explain it later. And again, it is not recommended one. I will just concept wise I'll explain you later. And factless fact table is very important concept. This is part of the many to many. It is called as a bridge table. So this is many to many. A salesperson can work on multiple region, and each region can have more than one salesperson. It is a many to many relationship. If I wanted to know which salesperson in which region they are working on it, right, we need to have a bridge table. So this is also a fact table, okay? This is a fact table, but in this case it is about the fact table. This table is to connect these two fact tables. Sorry, these two tables, right? You want to connect these two tables, but this will not have the measures or facts in it. See, here the numerical values are called order quantity, and this one, the sales amount. The measures are called your facts. It is also called as a fact. But in this fact table, we don't have the fact at all, right? So now the question is, okay, if this fact table does not have measure, how can I, do slicing and dicing? How can I do some kind of aggregation if I want to do it, right? So you will have another fact table, right? That fact table will connect to this bridge table in order to do the slicing and dicing. Okay. Okay, this you need to remember it. There are three different possible physical relationship coordinate is available, right? But not all supported by Power Pivot. So many to many is not supported. If you go to the model view, and you can, when you click on the relation manage relationship, you can see only one to many, one to one, and many to one, not many to many. This is not supported. If that is not supported, how can I handle it? So for that only we need to use something like the bridge table. We need to create a bridge table, one to many, and one many to one. So one to many, many to one, not many to many is possible. Why many to many is not possible? Because it causes serious performance issue. Okay, it causes serious performance issue. That is also the reason why the many to many table is not allowed, not only in Power BI, even from the data warehouse. Let's say you are building a data warehouse. In the data warehouse, if you come across any situations where you need to implement many to many table, it is not a good design. You need to create a bridge table so that it will have something like one to many and many to one. Okay. And next we will see what is the example for one to many relationship. Single employee working in multiple projects. And the next one is, these are the examples. I just updated this, a working copy of this one. Okay. However, I have the study material in my many to many relation occurs when multiple records are associated with multiple records in another table. That's what I said. More than one employee can work on a single project. A project can also have multiple employees. Okay. Power BI does not support many to many relationship. Right? Then how will I in the real world? We cannot expect ideal case scenario. We will be getting this kind of situations. Okay. So how will you deal with it? Right. So all relation between tables and DAX are of type one to many. We need to come up with the bridge table, and we need to deal with that. Look here. This is the situation. For example, we have a product table and we have a sales table and the bill of materials. And if you look at the product ID ABC, right, in the product table, the corresponding sale, how many number of instances of the product ABC is occurring here? 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Right, you want to do, so this is one to many. One product can appear more than one time in my sales table. But if you look at this bill of materials for the product ID ABC, right, we have something like BOM ID. We did not sell all the products of ABC. For example, we have a product name called ABC. It is a kind of in a box. Okay, you call a box as a ABC. But when you open the box, you have some apples, oranges, and you have some other fruit. 3 different fruits are there inside this. Some other 1 kg box. But it's a combo thing. Okay. So in the combo box, if you open it, 1, 2, 3. So you sell combo, or you sell, the apple or orange or other fruit separately also, right? So the ABC has 3 different products. Right? So this is also another example for many to many here. Many to many here, because the product ABC has more than one product in it, right? And the A can also, right, and again the A can appear more than one, the ABC can appear more than one time in the sales table. And also in the case of bill of materials, within the ABC you have multiple 3 different products, right? So this is allowed in a traditional relational database. Okay, but when it comes to this one, you need to create some kind of bridge table to handle them. This is a many to many relationship. There is a infinity. Here you have many, and here also you have many to many. Some products have multiple sub products in the BOM table, right? Each product is sold many times in the sales table. But here, each product will be stored only one time. only one row is, you'll be storing each product only in only one row, because of the fact that the product ID is a unique value. You cannot repeat the same product ID here. Okay, so the same each product you sell it many times, and each as a product, right? So in this case of ABC, you have multiple sub products here. Okay. Okay, so in the case of bill of materials also, right, has many instances of the product ID. Okay, so that is the reason why it is called many to many. But many to many is you cannot directly implement many to many. First of all, Power BI will not allow you to implement them. So next one is what is a lookup table and fact table. Lookup table is nothing but dimension table, and the data table is nothing but fact table. Okay. So what exactly fact table? Why we need to have the fact table? Fact table carries all the transactions. It has the facts in it, all the measures in it. Okay, and then the dimension table carries all the filtering information. It carries all the filtering information. Supposing you want to, let's say you are asked a question like how many number of products, let's say how many number of this one, let's say peanut butter, how many number of peanut butter bottles we sold it, right? Let's say you want to do filtering. In that case, what will happen is, in the visual you select the product called peanut butter, right? The peanut butter has a primary key. What it does is, since you have established the relationship between the product table, which holds the peanut butter bottle, and also, right, sales table. So what will happen is, whatever the primary key number, let's say the primary or the key primary key value is 100 for peanut butter, the corresponding 100 primary key value, right, product ID, it goes and checks in your sales table. How many number of instances of peanut butter bottle is occurring in my sales table? It filter only those records. So the dimension table is filtering the information, right? The product table is filtering is helpful in terms of filtering the information from the sales fact table, in terms of filtering only the intended product. In our case, it is peanut butter bottle. Let's say four transactions, or four different transactions, customer purchased peanut butter, and this information will be passed down, and you use DAX to compute the total sales, right? Once you take all the 4 instances, in each instance how many number of bottles we sold it, and then that one will be passed to your DAX. You will be using a DAX to do that one. Okay, this is how the filter is will work. So the dimension tables are helpful in terms of filtering the data. Next one is, in the Power BI, we have something called active and inactive relationship. I just, instead of keep talking theory part, I'll just go here and I will show here. Look here, the other day in the last session I told you to import all the Excel files, and including the XML, so not XML, JSON file. Okay, the product has, so this is the one. Okay, so here if you look at here, all these things are like a kind of fact table, the dimension table, including product and ship date, everything. Here I did not use the ship date, I just created it, and this is my dimension table. All the dimension tables we can keep it on top, so that you will get to know this is the best way of doing the design. Okay, and do it. So you have something, ship date I am not going to use it now. So all the dimension tables are there on top. Okay, if you look at even this one also, when you look at all these dimension tables, you can see something like arrow mark, right? This is called the link, a relationship. If you hover the cursor on this, you can understand which keys between these two tables are linked, the sale region number and sales territory key. And here if you hover this, okay, you need to probably This is related to which one? Yeah, consumers data, right? So customer ID, and here it is not showing it. Why? Or if you have any confusion, just click on that. It will open up the dialog box which will show the relationship whatever you set it here. Look here, the customer key from the sales data and consumers data table customer key, right? These two got linked up here. Okay, we have established a relationship. You can select whichever column you need, but one way this is very good. If you use the manage relationship or edit relationship, you will be very clear. For example, here the naming convention used was different. The customer key they used it, but here they use consumer key. It is always a best practice. Don't use the default or auto detect relationship. Okay, disable it and then import all the tables or all the sheets or worksheet whatever you needed, and then you go and create the relationship manually. It is always safe. Mistakenly, for example, if you customer ID, customer key, and here consumer key is there, right? Here customer ID, if you link it by mistakenly, right, gone. Any of auto detect will not do that, but still you need to be a bit cautious. Okay, whether and other advantages, right? The auto detect automatically creates the date table. We don't want to use the date table for each date column. It creates the automatic date tables behind the scene. That is a overkill. We don't want to use so many tables behind the scene. It will slow down your performance. Okay. Now we have established the relationship between these two tables. So what is the table? This is my fact table. This is my dimension table. In this dimension table, this is the surrogate key and this is the corresponding surrogate key here. Okay. So okay, you selected this column, you selected this column. The next cardinality is one-to-one. The type of relationship. If you select this one, you can find one-to-one, one-to-many. Can you see many-to-many? No. Then my statement was correct. Power BI does not support many-to-many. Okay. So in this case, many-to-one. Why? This is the many table, fact table. This has transaction data. This has only the lookup data or the master data, dimension table, right? So, and next one is cross filter direction. Which direction we want to filter the data? You want to filter the data from the dimension table to fact table. So hence by default, right, it's selected single. You can use both also. I will show you with example when you are supposed to use both. Okay. Now we are done with this. So if you look at all the tables, these are the dimension tables. All the tables relationship link when you see it, the down arrow, right? So all these dimension tables are the relationships from all these dimensions are flowing down to my fact table. Okay, fine. So the next one is I was talking about the active and inactive relationship, right? So if you look at these relationship from, for example, this is the one is, one second, let me expand this one. Yeah, the customer key is there here, right? So that's the reason it was not showing it. If you select this one, if you hover the cursor here, look here. So the order date key and okay, something wrong here. 1 second, let me just check here. Look here, the consumer key and customer key. In case of any confusion, just drag it, and it's not that mandatorily you have to keep it on top, but if you keep it on top, you will get to know what are the dimension tables, how the relationship is flowing, right? So whether it is flowing down from your dimension table or whether it is going from here to there. Ideally it should flow from dimension table to this one. So the one is nothing but one table, single record. For each instance, multiple instances will be there in this table, right? So that is what, but here we have one-to-one relationship. Look here, now you got an example for one-to-one. So in this order data, this is a master table. Okay, here if you expand this, you have the order number, and then you have the channel, which channel we sold the which channel the customer ordered, whether they ordered it from the app, or whether they came and purchased from in store, or did they order it through our website or through our salesperson, right? Which mode of sale this order has been executed in which mode, and then the order number, order line key. Okay, all these one-time information about the order will be stored here, and all the multiple instances related to the order is stored here. Okay, so what is the order date, and then what is the product, which product they ordered, what is the line key, sales order line key, what is the territory key, and all the product cost, unit price, everything is available here. Okay, and unit price, discount percentage, everything is available, all the thing here. Forget about this one, this I, whenever you see this kind of icon, that means, right, we have created some measure using DAX. We have created some kind of aggregation. Okay, fine. All the dimension tables, the relationship, if you look at it, you can see the down arrow here, but here I have mentioned the both direction. I will tell you, for example, for the time being, I'll just enable the single one here. Okay, fine. So all these solid lines between the dimension tables and the fact tables are called your active relationship. The dotted line between the dimension table and fact table are called inactive relationship. So what exactly the active relationship does? The active relationship, it propagates the filters to other tables. For example, I want to see I want to do slicing and dicing on my order date. The sale amount by order date. I want to see the sale amount by order date. Sale amount by order date, I want to see it, right? So in that case, since the relationship between the date table and this one, right, here, right? So here, since we have the active relationship, it filters, or it does the slicing and dicing correctly. Okay, I'll just go here and I will show you how it does. For example, I just wanted to create this one, and I just go to the sales amount by, sorry, here I did not drag it, sales amount by, we need to go to where, the dimension date, dim date. Okay, here we have, I want to see month wise, so not month wise, year wise, we will see year wise. Okay, I just remove the month here, the legend. Okay, I just go here, we have a title on, and if this is a format tab. Okay, we'll explain this in detail, how to use various options or features that are available in format tab. Okay, and here we can see something like sales amount by fiscal year by order date. We'll say order, it's order, something like that. Okay, sales amount by, so we have sliced the order date by sales amount. Okay, the order date as the fiscal year because it has a relationship with the dim date, right? So year wise, the sales amount by order date. Okay, we want to see it. Fine, this is fine. The same table, we have something else called shipment date. Ship date key is there. Ship date key is there. I wanted to see the sale amount by ship date. I want to slice and dice based on the ship date to see the sale amount, sale value. So next, what I do, I just click on the canvas to deselect this one, and I am going to select the another visual, and here I am going to put the sales amount, And how can I slice and dice the sales amount based on the ship date? How can I see that? How can I do that? How can I cannot do that, right? Because we have established a relationship between the dimension table, date tables, the date, the date ID and then order date key. That is the reason why I can see the sales amount by order date. But here I did not establish, but now my manager is asking me, hey, I wanted to slice and dice the sale amount by ship date. How can I do that? So instead of connecting it to order date key, I need to connect this date ID with my ship date key. I have to do it. This is the requirement. Okay, but I know I cannot do it directly, right? So but see, the rule of thumb is you cannot have more than one active relationship between two tables at a time. At a time you cannot have more than one active relationship between tables. That is the limitation. How can I, in that case, how can I display or show the sale amount by ship date? Is there any other workaround is available? There is a workaround, that is where the inactive relationship is coming into picture. So we use the inactive relationship. See, there are two approaches are available in this case. One approach is you can link the date ID with the ship date key. But already we have established the relationship between date ID to order date key, this date column to this date column, and we have another date column called ship date column. So this column and this date ID I need to link it. Only then I can do the slicing and dicing. But I created an inactive relationship. But is that really helpful? Right? Is that really helpful in terms of performing this one? So look here again. I'm using the same table, date table, but the dim date table, right? Yeah. So year wise, fiscal year, right? So yeah, here this 1 second. Let me just select this one. Where did I select that one? Yeah, fiscal year from this one, date table, and then the sale amount. Because currently the active relationship is available between the order date key and the date key tables, date table, right? Date key column of your date table, right? So for this date key column, date ID and the ordered date key is the active relationship. With that it shows. But how can you first of all show based on the shipment date what is the sale amount? How can I show that? Right? For that, what you can do is you can create an inactive relationship. Just because creating an inactive relationship, right, the data will not change, nothing will happen here. So what you need to do is, you have created one approach is, right, if you want to view the report or the sales amount by ship date is, you can go to the modeling tab and you can create a new measure. We have DAX function. Using DAX function, you can activate the inactive relationship for this report alone. For this report alone, I can activate the activate the inactive relation for this visual in order to display the sales amount by ship date. So how do I do that? There is a formula. Okay, there is something called calculate. You have something called for example, I say delivered amount. Can someone tell me what is the difference between ordered amount and shipped amount? Are there any difference? Why should I say sale amount by ship date? Why should I say sale amount by order date? What is the difference? Can someone type it in the chat window? Let me see. Are they same? Are they different? Why it is different? If it is different, why it is different? Shipping charge, okay. No, when you order any item, that includes shipping charges, right? How the order, see, they will not expect you to be technically good, that even 1 year experienced guy, he can talk all these things, okay? Whatever I am saying, right? Even 1 year person, experienced person, he can tell, but they will expect you to tell the story, good at domain also. Whatever project you specify, right? That project related question they will ask. For example, here I mentioned about order line number. Order number is there, order ID is there, order line number is there, order line key is there. Why you need order line key? They will ask that one. Be careful, because when you say that you are 3 plus or 4 plus years, but so I will tell you why. And how about others? How about others? Karthik or Arun Kumar sir, bankers are there. Why don't you give through your just no, nothing like correct answer, okay? You can, it could be either correct or wrong, let it be there. Just type it in the chat window. Okay, I am just using that here, and we have something called calculate function is available here. What I am doing, we wanted to sum the sales amount. The sales amount is available in this table. In this table, the sales amount is available because this is a fact table according to us. Okay, and since we are using sum is a function, hence you need to make sure that you are closing the parenthesis. Most of them, they make the mistake here. Next one is you need to filter it based on which condition you wanted to sum the total sales, right? So there is another function called use relationship. It is already the use relationship. So here what I am doing is, whatever the inactive relationship which I created it in the model view, right? So that relationship related columns I am going to define it here, okay? So here ship date key, this is the one, right? First one, this one I related with, I created a inactive relation with ship date key and the dim date, right? So dimension is a single date, right? So here we have date ID. And you need to close this parenthesis. So on the, if you look here, the order data I created it, right? I want this measure. This is called measure, the delivered amount. How did we derive this? We in the model view, we define the inactive relationship. And then what we did here, in the inactive relationship, we joined these two columns from these two tables, because these two columns are common between these two tables. And for this relationship, compute the total sales. Now it is done. Can we see delivered amount, right? Along with the delivered amount, you can see this icon. That means this is the measure. Okay, this is called measure. Measure means the numerical value. It is the computed value. Okay, aggregated value. Aggregation in general, right? So we call measure as a numerical aggregated value. So no syntax mistake, nothing. Okay, fine. So now what I am going to do is, this is my delivered amount, right? Instead of using, now I am going to select this one. I am going to use the sale amount. Instead of sale amount, I am going to drag and drop delivered amount, because the delivered amount is the name I have given it, right? Shipment date by sale amount. Sale amount by shipment date. We need on a fiscal year basis, right? For each year, what is the, look here, I am using only one date dimension. The single date dimension, we created an active relationship between these two tables by linking date ID with this order date key, so that we are able to plot. We are able to plot sales amount by order date. But in order to find the ship date, you need to link the ship date key with order key. See, instead of creating an active relationship between the date key and date ID and order date key, I would have created the relationship between ship date to get this one, right? But my manager need both. Look here, we are getting both. These two are different now, right? These two are different. So what we will do is I am going to just copy paste this and just move up this. You can do Control C and Control V. The next one is you can select this table. Each year, what is it? You can see view this way also, and you can see this. Both of them should have different value, right? But the total should be same, right? Total should be same, right? Okay. And here, if you see here, and is there any way I can make the sale amount by order date and sale amount by the shipped date? So for that, what we do is I am going to place this one also here. Very good. It is coming perfectly here. Very good, right? So now what I want to do is delivered amount or the sale amount by shipment date, right? So that is what this one, sale amount by order date. I combine these two things, but the values are not same, and it does the slicing and dicing perfectly. Okay, and also I wanted to see how many number of units that we sold, right? And by shipment date, how many number of units we sold by order date. So how can we do that? Further, look here, already I created a DAX measure. Okay, look here, count rows. We have something called count rows. And if you specify the column name, the table name, it automatically counts that. Okay. Let us do one thing. I am going to drag and drop this one here, 84825, and but here, right? So yeah, so I should have established the relationship between those two, right? So one second, otherwise. Okay, this one we will see it later. One second. I just want to show you the relevant thing, and then one more topic. Okay, one more approach. This is one approach we can use it to do the slicing and dicing based on the shipment date, based on the order date. We can do it. Is there any other alternative available? Yes, we have another alternative is available. You can go here. So what I do is I simply copy paste this table. The dim date table is there, right? I just simply, what I do is duplicate. We don't have duplicate is available here, right? So what I do is, you cannot copy paste it. That is one drawback here. Probably we can suggest Microsoft to keep a feature like this. Okay. So what we do is, what I did here was, okay, we have a date, right? I shared you all the data file already. Power BI training. Here I have something called data files, and I have another data files here. Dim. So this is my date data. It's nothing but I renamed it a dim date, right? So what I do is I just simply copy paste the same date table. I am going to rename it as a ship date. That's it. Same date table which I used it. I just take the duplicate of this one. I am going to import this one. That is what I already did it. Ship date I already did it. Good. I already did it. So this is the one having all the this also the same as the copy paste of this one date table. What I do is, instead of using the inactive relationship, I am going to remove this inactive relationship. Look here, if I delete this, what is going to happen? If I go there, what will happen? The slicing and dicing for the sale amount by shipment will not be done correctly, wouldn't have been done correctly there. Look here, it is throwing in error. When you select this one, fix this error. But this is here there is no issue, okay. And if you look here, right, gone. The shipment sale amount by shipment date gone. Here the only sale amount is there because the sale amount by shipment date, right, is missing because we removed the inactive relationship there. Please remember, just by establishing the inactive relationship is not sufficient. You need to use a function called use relationship. Look here, this one became error now. Function can only use to call reference participant because this relationship is not there, hence it is throwing error. So here we have a function called use relationship, using which we enable the inactive relationship as an inactive relationship for this visual. Okay. Not only for this visual, wherever you are using this thing, right, this one is applicable. Okay, fine. So now, okay, now we removed it. What is big deal? What can I do now? So what I do is I am going to use the copy paste of my existing date table, which is nothing but ship date. Here I am going to create the relationship between okay, here, so this one is already with order date key. Here I am going to create a relationship with ship date key, right? Ship date key. If you hover the cursor, you can see date ID and ship date key. Okay, this date ID in both the tables should be unique. Okay, anyway, we will discuss about that one also. So next, if I go here, it is not visible. Right, it is not visible, and here, okay, here what I do is, let me do one thing. Here I don't need this one at all, right? Fiscal year, and we have established the relation between those two. And what I am going to do is, okay, here first of all, let us try to understand. So we have created the active relationship between this date table with the ship date key, and here we have established active relationship between the date ID and order date key, right? Perfect. But here there is no inactive relationship. So this is called role playing dimension. Role playing dimension. A single dimension plays multiple role. It's actually date dimension only. We renamed it, right? We renamed it, but all the columns are same. All the rows are same here also. We renamed it for our sake of understanding. We are using a single dimension to play multiple role. So hence we call it role playing dimension. That's all. Using the role playing dimension also, we can establish the relationship like this. Okay, the active relationship. This is another approach, but the drawback is, right, you have more tables, right? Especially if you already have 15 dimension tables and 2 fact tables, and for and if you want to, if you have 4 or 5 date columns, and you need to create 5 different role playing dimension tables. But if the number of dimensional fact tables are not much, then you can go ahead and create it. Okay, in that case, right, won't it consume memory or resource? You said automatic tables create, but in that case we are not creating the role playing dimension for all the date column, right? Only the on the need basis only we are creating this. Only for these 2 columns we created, and importantly the date column, the date tables will have less number of data. So here you have, let's say you have 25 million records, but you hardly have less than 10,000 records will be there. That's all, right? 10,000 records will not cause any performance issue. We can still go ahead and and do the, analysis with this one. So next one is, what I am going to do is I am going to select this one, and I am going to say this one. I am going to select the ship date, the fiscal year, and I just go and put it here, and then the sale amount. So ideally I should have put that one there. Look here, it is perfect, right? These two are different. Using role play dimension also, we can do the slicing and dicing. If the number of tables, the dimension tables, right, are like a date, the interview they'll ask you, can you tell me what is a role playing dimension? You know very well now. The same table can play multiple roles. That is called role playing dimension. And the date, can you give me an example for the role playing dimension table, role playing dimension that you used it for? You can say date table is the classic example. For date table we have used the role playing dimension. You can give some other example also, right? You can tell this one. In general, for date key we will be using role playing dimension. The same thing, you don't have to do it again, the drag and drop. Simply what you can do is you remove this one and copy paste it, that's all. But here I did not use DAX at all. I did not use DAX. Without DAX, okay, so here we have done this, and yeah, did I use DAX here? Nothing. So this is the table. So here these values are 511, 518. For example, if we keep here 518 and here 511 is there, right? That's all. We don't have anything here. Fine. So this is how we can use role playing dimension. Okay, and yeah, so this is how we can do it. So the next one is, so now we understood what is active and inactive relationship. How to activate the inactive relationship? There are two approaches are available. One is we can use role playing dimension, or you can use DAX function. In the DAX function we have some use relation. That use relation function, you need to use it as a filter condition in your calculate. Calculate is very robust and powerful function in DAX. Anyhow, I'm going to cover DAX next. That will be very much helpful. And also, okay, now active. What is active and inactive? Active relation propagates filters to other tables. Inactive relation also propagates the filters to other tables with the help of DAX functions. Okay, that is what the difference between these two. And the rule of thumb is, at any point in time, at a time, you can create a single active relationship between two tables. Remember that, that's it. Okay, and with DAX coming in, inactive filter propagates. Okay, now direction of the relationship. Okay, so look here. So far we have used the single direction here. We have used single direction. Look here, from all the dimension table, the information is flowing down to your fact table. Okay, supposing I wanted to get the information between these two tables, okay, or if you want to do a slicing and dicing between these two tables, is it possible to do that? Because all these tables are linked with the fact table. None of the dimension tables are linked. For example, I wanted to see the region wise, product wise sales. How can I see that? How can I see that? Because it is all single relationship. We cannot see that, right? In that case, what we can do is we can use bidirectional relationship. Okay, what I will do is I will open other file, one simple example, projects.pbx. right? So I want you to find out the number of employees working in each department, because we have one too many. Here we have one too many. It is very easy to do the slicing and dicing because you have established an active relationship. Fine. If I ask you how many number of projects are there in each department, how can you tell? Here we have department number and project ID is also there, right? Department employee number is also there. Yeah, I just above this employee number, department number, project ID is also there. If I ask you to show me or generate a report which shows in the department, right? In each department, how many number of projects are there? Department name wise, right? Department name wise, how many number of projects are there? You can tell. Project ID. Okay. So this you can tell. In this case, single relationship is enough. Okay. And if I ask you something like, how many number of employees, right, are working in each department, right? Supposing, basically I want you to slice and dice the projects with department. How can you do that? For that, I just, I did this one here. 1 second, where is the projects? Oh, the visuals have gone. I did not save it. For this, I just created some tables in my MySQL. I connected to these tables. Select star from department. Select star from employee. Let us look at the data so that we will get clarity. 1 second, employee. Select star from project. Forget about other tables. From. So this is my employee table, right? So here we have one-to-many relationship between the department and employee, and here also we have one-to-many relationship between these two, right? So now if I ask you how many number of projects are executed and how many number of projects, right? How many number of projects we have executed by department. How can you tell? Here we mentioned about 10, right? But here we don't have the project ID here, right? Project ID is not there. In this case, how can you tell? Okay, for that, let me do the show tables. Yeah, we have another table called project works on, right? Yeah, project works on. This is another table. Okay, this is a many to many table. Select star from works on table. Here, this is kind of a bridge table. You remember, many to many table. So one employee can work more than one project. Look here, this employee is working on more than one project, and a project can have more than one employee also. Look here, this project has more than one employee, and yeah, you can also put some other data for this. It's a many to many table. Okay, works on. This is a bridge table. So how many number of employees working on project number 100? How many of them are there? 2 plus 1 is 3, right? But by joining these two tables, can you tell? For example, here I have department and employee table. Assume that with this, can you tell how many number of employees are working in each project? Can you tell? Here you don't have the project ID, right? And here you have the department details, and here you have the project. So this is the link table. We also call it a link table. With this we can tell how many number of employees are working in each department, right? So here my question to you is, for example, this one I am going to delete the relationship. Okay, I am going to create a relationship between work set. Work set is okay. Instead of looking at this one, because I have another table is missing here. 1 second, let me just check here. Okay, so here if I ask you to let's go to the visualization. Better we'll go to visualization, and I'm going to select this one. Sorry, not this one. I should have. Let's say I go to the region table. Where is the regions data? I wanted to see the region, and then I wanted to use the product and region are two different dimensions. Right, product number, I wanted to use this one here. So what has happened here? Count of product number, right? Count of product region. So region and product number, I took it from here. So if you select product number here, on top you can see product number is a text, right? And here it says don't summarize. What I am going to do is, for the time being, I just convert this a whole number. Anyhow, here we can use count, right? Even for that also we can use count. End of the day, whether it's a text or this one, count can work on the categorical variable also. Fine. So look here. So here I enabled the product number as a count. We wanted to display the okay, here aggregation is summarization is count, right? Okay, let it be there. I'm going to make 1 second. Or we can use count rows also. So let it be there, let it be text. See, in the data set, I have a column called gender. Gender, we have male, female. If I ask you to count how many number of males are there in a classroom, how many number of females are there in a classroom, right? Even though the data is text, still you can use count, right? You can use count here. Okay, I just selected it here. Look here, region, count of product number. But here it is not doing the slicing and dicing. Why? Why it is not doing the slicing and dicing? Because all these dimension tables, data were flowing from dimension table down to the fact table. We don't have any relationship between these two things, right? So what I do is I just select this one. If you see the not delete, and if I enable both the cross filter direction, I am going to enable it both. Look here, now it is doing the slicing and dicing correctly. Slicing and dicing. See, in the other batch, my student, other thing, right? The title, this is the title, and to changing the title for this one, see, number of products by region. You want to change the title here. Usually the title is available in the format. Anyhow, will explain you as part of visualization, right? But for this one, how will you change the title? If you go here, you will not find, first you need to select this one. If you go to the format tab here, you can specify the font size and the font style, and also you can specify the title, everything here in the format tab. And here, if you see here, you have something called title. Title is already on, but here we have something count of product by region, right? Count of product by region. But if you look at here, count of product number is there, right? So how do I change that one? For that, many of them, they were breaking the red. You just select this one here. Here itself, you need to rename for this one. For any derived column, right? Measure, you need to change it. For that, here rename this one. So here number of products by region, you can see it. See, now slicing and dicing. Earlier, though we create a relationship between dimension table and fact table, it was not doing it. After we enable the both cross filter directions, both, now we are able to see it. Why are we able to see it? Why it does the slicing and dicing now after I enable both for the cross filter direction? See, we don't have any relation between these two, right? Product and region. Since we don't have, it was not doing it. So what I did, I enabled both. So instead of flowing the data from here to here, it can go from here to also, here to here, right? From the down to hub, the data can flow, right? So that is also the reason why now we are able to do slicing and dicing. But what the suggestion, the best practice is, don't enable cross filter direction for all the tables. It will have a major performance hit on your performance. It will have a major hit on your, it will have a serious performance issues. It will cause serious performance issues. It's kind of a looping kind of thing, okay? So don't do it unless if there is any real need is there, you can do it. Otherwise, don't do it. So today you understood what is role playing dimension importantly, and also you understood what is the significance of using the cross filter direction, bidirection, right? The bidirectional relationship, the both. If you enable both, that means it's a bidirectional relation. So in this case, if you enable the bidirectional, you enable employee one table back to this one. I thought of showing this one because I have some data missing there. Somehow it got crashed. That's the reason I did not continue with that one. Anyhow, with this you are able to understand, right? That's what I explained you this one. So the word of caution is bidirectional relationship can lead to severe performance issues. Now you know what is the difference between single and bidirectional cross filter. Now you understood, right? Single means one direction from one to many, but here what happens is from the fact table to dimension also the data can flow. Since the fact table is already connected to region table, we are able to do the slicing and dicing. Okay, so now the situation is the bidirectional relationship is not the best practices to enable it for all the tables. Then what is the way out? Okay, what is the way? Let's say I have 15 dimension tables or 2 fact tables are there, and my requirement dictates me to slice and dice the dimension table itself. Okay, multiple dimension tables. In that case, what should I do? You need to redesign the model, or you can use something called cross filter DAX function. Okay, we have something like cross filter. We'll see it as part of DAX function, DAX session. Okay, date table already discussed. Automatically the date will get created. It is not preferred. We are supposed to create the table on our own. Okay, what is the requirement for creating the date table? If I have to create the table manually, what should I do? What are the rules that I should follow? What are the requirements, right? it must have a column of data type date, okay, known as the date column. The date column must contain unique values, should not have any duplicate values, and it should not contain blanks. The date column must not have any missing dates also. It should be sequent. Supposing you are using the date between in your transaction day table, you are using the start date as 1/1/2020, and in between listen till date 1/1/22 till date you have done the transaction, you have some business happened, lot of transaction, many customers they ordered it, in between few days they did not order it, because of which you have some blanks between one date to another. For example, 1st January data is there, 2nd January, 3rd January, 4th January, 5th January I don't have any sales, hence that date will become blank, right? You should not have missing dates. It should be, the date should be stored sequentially, okay, and the date column must span full years, okay, full years. A year is not necessarily a calendar year, it can be anything, okay, and also a date table must be marked as a date table. Look here, if I go here and this is my ship date, and if I select it here, right, you have something called properties, and just go here and row label, no, not this one, here what you do is key column, okay, not here, I think here, mark as date table, mark as date table. You need to make this a date table. If you create the table on your own, you need to do this. Already I have the date value stored in my Excel sheet. The Excel sheet, if you look at the date sheet, right, all the dates, you don't find any gap in between dates, right? There are no blanks in it. There are no missing dates. All of them are unique values only, right? That's the reason why it is working fine. If you have duplicate values in it, it will throw an error, okay. See, validated successfully, mark as date table, that's what we did it, you can do it, okay. Different approaches to create date table. How can I create date table? So in the Excel sheet already we have created the dates, everything in line with the requirements, or in line with the the requirements mandated by Power BI. Okay, in the Excel sheet everything we followed all these rows. We created the year, date, month, and also we created date key column. It is a very unique key. Everything is fine. Now we can simply import it. But another simplest way of doing it, right? You can use something like the auto date. We don't need it. Power Query to connect to a date dimension table. Okay. Power Query to generate a table. Allow the Power Query to generate a date table, and DAX to generate a date table. This is very easy. Okay, you have a function called calendar function, using which you can create the date table using the calculate table. How many of you remember we have used calculate column, right? Similarly, we have something called calculate table. The interview they'll ask you what is the difference between calculate table and calculate column. And also other approaches, DAX to clone an existing date table. Okay, you can clone the existing date table, or you can generate a date table using DAX function, and Power Query to generate it. So for this you need to use the M language. M language is a bit difficult, right, to remember. Or Power Query to generate a date dimension. If you have already a date dimension table, if you need another table in the query, you just duplicate the query and rename it with ship date, something like that. Instead of, see, in my case what I did, I just copy pasted the same date Excel sheet into another Excel sheet. Instead you can go to transform data, some silly questions they'll ask, why did you use minimum of order date, why do you use maximum order date, instead you should have used ship date, why? The simple thing, okay, simple thing, okay. Just understand the rationale, okay. But mistakenly also, right, you can do it. Why should I use order date? Why can't I try this one? Don't try that. The other approach is, if you are already having the existing date table, you can copy it to this one. But usually we work on the already existing project. if you have to work on a brand new project, you have to create the date table from the scratch. Okay, so there are various approaches. Okay, and but this is the rule you need to keep in mind. This is the rule of thumb. You need to follow this before you create that one. And yeah, Power Query also can, like we can duplicate the existing one, and all function you can create duplicated using DAX function. Right, this is how we can do it. Okay, this is the data limitation with respect to the licensing. This we'll discuss it in the next session or later point. This is not so important now. Importantly, we'll start the DAX function in the upcoming Tuesday. Okay, and also we'll cover we are left with DAX function and the visuals. These are the two important milestones. Afterwards, we will see how to do the deployment, how to publish this on the BA service, and also data refresh and all, how to do that. We'll do that. And meanwhile, we'll share some assignments related to data model. Okay, we'll start work on that, and also see how to convert this date format into the order date key into date format. Okay, so from there you need to extract year, month, date and all. Okay, you see how you can do it. And also as part of DAX itself, we will see how to do the string manipulation, all the things. Okay, any questions so far? Any questions? I'll be sharing the video and